there be disengagement, de-induction and pullback of troops? I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you details. Also on the show, a shocking statement from former Pakistani envoy to India, Abdul Basit. And of course, we'll also get you reactions from Pakistan on G20 being hosted by India. Let's get started with the headlines at 10. Political storm over Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge's poisonous snake remark in Karnataka. The BJP calls it abusing the Prime Minister of India. Mallikarjun Kharge clarifies it was an attack on the ideology of the BJP and not a direct attack on the Prime Minister. A hero's welcome for freed gangster turned Neta Anand Mohan as he reaches his village. Motorcycle rallies and sweets in celebration of the murder convict's release. Day 5 of wrestlers' protest against the Wrestling Federation chief. Wrestlers alleged Sports Minister Anurag Thakur only spent a few minutes in the meeting to address their issues. IOA chief PT Usha says these protests are tarnishing India's image. Rajnath Singh holds talks with his Chinese counterpart, first since the Galwan clash of 2020. Both leaders hold dialogue on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meet. Akali Dal Patriarch Parkar Singh Badal's last rites performed with full state honours in his native Lambi village in Punjab. India has told China that the violation of the existing agreements has eroded the entire basis of bilateral ties, and disengagement at the border should logically be followed by de-escalation. The defence ministers of India and China, according to the Ministry of Defence, held frank discussions about the developments at the line of actual control and on overall bilateral defence ties. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh categorically conveyed the development of relationship between India and China is premised on the prevalence of peace and tranquility at the borders. He then went on to say all issues at the line of actual control need to be resolved in accordance with existing bilateral agreements and commitments. The defence minister said violation of existing agreements eroded the entire basis of bilateral ties between India and China. Once there is disengagement, it should be followed by de-escalation. India has constantly also pushed for de-induction of close to 50,000 troops amassed at the line of actual control in Ladakh by both sides. The Chinese defence minister is in India, in the national capital, for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defence Ministers meet. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Abhishek Bhalla for more on this. Abhishek, 18 rounds of border talks have taken place between the core commanders. There's also talks that are happening at the level of the Ministry of External Affairs, and now the defence ministers have met for the first time since Galwan. Do we expect forward movement? What did the Chinese side say? What more do we know?
Well, Gaurav, this was a very important meeting. For the first time since Galwan, the defence ministers were meeting, perhaps the highest level, and India made its stand clear. It's very clear that, India is saying that as far as developments at the line of actual control are concerned for the last 3 years, the onus is on China. And that's something that has been reiterated by the defence minister today. And China has been really reluctant to sort of completely come clear on what the situation is. China has been dragging its feet, saying that they don't want to discuss the larger issues related to the de-escalation at the line of actual control. And that's something that India has reiterated once again today. One final, submission that India has always had is that status quo ante April 2020 needs to be maintained. That's
Fair
something
enough.
that China has been shying away from. It remains to be seen whether there's a breakthrough after these talks or not. The likelihood is less, but we'll wait and watch for an official response from China on what is
Keep
happening
tracking that
today.
story, Abhishek. I will come back to you for more on this major development. I now want to shift focus to our top story. G20 delegates are being hosted in Leh. They will be hosted next month in Srinagar. The Union territories of Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir are being spruced up in a big way to showcase development across this region. And there is tremendous excitement on the streets of Ladakh and in Jammu and Kashmir. But Pakistan is miffed, while there is shock and awe on the streets of Pakistan, because in this interconnected world, they're watching what's happening. People in Gilgit and Baltistan are watching what's happening in Leh, Ladakh. But people in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, including in Gilgit, Baltistan, they are seeing that the lies of Pakistan's military jihad complex, the lies of Pakistan, the false narrative of the past 7 decades is falling apart brick by brick. Ashraf Ani reports.
20 delegates from G20 nations welcomed with traditional pomp and show at Leh, Ladakh. The youth delegates' itinerary includes visiting the Thikse and Hemis monasteries and the Shanti Stupa. There is also an interaction at the Sindhu Sanskriti Auditorium. The theme is Shared Future, Youth in Democracy. There is tremendous enthusiasm in Leh with the high-profile guests, and from traditional food to sightseeing to a series of interactions with 100 youth delegates, India is laying out the red carpet, showcasing the best the nation has to offer to our global guests.
आज G20 समिट में विदेश से आए हुए 30 कंट्रीज के लोग एक साथ आके पहचान रहे कि भाई अच्छा लद्दाख इधर है, ये लद्दाख का प्राइड नहीं है क्या? तो इससे जो है हम सबको एक गर्व महसूस होना चाहिए.
There is also tremendous excitement over the third G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in Srinagar in May. In Pakistan, there is shock and awe on the streets with the massive infrastructure push, not just in Jammu and Kashmir, but also in Ladakh. There are parallels being drawn with Pakistan-occupied Kashmir being ignored by Pakistan. In sheer frustration, Pakistan Army spokesperson has once again talked about taking the war to Indian territory. But at the United Nations, India made it very clear, both the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh will always remain an integral part of India. In fact, analysts in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir fear Pakistan will try and spread terror in Jammu and Kashmir to bring a bad name to India's G20 presidency. A collapsing Pakistan continues to try and destabilize India, but both security forces and the government in India are confident Pakistan will not succeed. Bureau Report, India Today.
We'll talk about this in greater detail. Joining me on the show is Sushant Sareen. He's a senior fellow at the Observer Research Foundation. Also with me is Pakistani journalist Arzu Kazmi. But before I come to our guest, I want you to look at Pakistan's terror mindset that gets exposed every day. Abdul Basit used to be Pakistan's High Commissioner to India, and he's made a shocking statement. He's actually tried to justify the terror attack on the Indian Army truck at Poonch, calling it a legitimate target. The truck targeted by Pakistan-backed radical Islamist terrorists was actually carrying iftar food for locals in Poonch. 5 brave soldiers of the Indian Army were killed in this terror strike. Abdul Basit actually tries to justify it.
days after that cowardly terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district that claimed the lives of 5 Indian Army soldiers. Pakistan's former High Commissioner to India, Abdul Basit, is back to spewing venom against India. He tried to justify the terror attack in Poonch, calling the Indian Army a legitimate target for terrorists.
बहुत से लोग इसको टेररिज्म कह रहे हैं, लेकिन ये एक मिलिट्री अगर मुजाहिदीन है या जो भी लोग ये स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं उन्होंने एक मिलिट्री टारगेट को किया है तो ये लेजिटिमेट टारगेट है, कोई सिविलियन टारगेट नहीं थे.
The former Pakistani diplomat also predicts that the Narendra Modi government will carry out another surgical strike on Pakistan ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections.
पाकिस्तान में लोग इस खदशे का इजहार कर रहे हैं कि शायद इंडिया अटैक करने की उसमें है सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक, जो बालाकोट में एक बेवकूफ़ी की थी भारत ने. मेरा नहीं ख्याल कि वो इस दफ़ा कुछ करने जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि इस वक्त SCO की प्रेसिडेंसी भारत के पास है, G20 की प्रेसिडेंसी भी भारत के पास है. तो जब तक ये सारी समिट्स वगैरह नहीं हो जाती उस वक्त तक कोई मैं कम से कम नहीं देख रहा भारत की जानिब से.
The opposition Congress party has hit out at Abdul Basit's shameful comment.
A former diplomat and who has held such a responsible position in the government should not make such irresponsible, highly provocative, rubbish statements. And this is very unfortunate and highly condemnable. Government of India must take stern notice of this thing and take action appropriate to counter Pakistan and its fringe elements also.
India has consistently exposed Pakistan's role in sponsoring terror in Jammu and Kashmir and other parts of India. Abdul Basit's comments only validate New Delhi's stance.
We have to expose them. We have to delegitimize terrorism. If we don't take a strong stand, don't expect the world to take a strong stand, because we are the primarily affected party. So, big difference after 2014 is we have been absolutely relentless, uncompromising on this issue. That for us, whichever forum, we have been very strongly keeping terrorism as a focal point.
People in Pakistan realize the country is being ostracized because Pakistan continues to use terror as an instrument of state policy. This, even as Pakistan struggles to handle its worst economic, political and security crisis since Pakistan's formation. Bureau Report, India Today.
What should one make of this shocking statement of Abdul Basit? Is this the general Pakistani mindset? Joining me on India First is Sushant Sareen. Also with me is senior journalist from Pakistan, Arzu Kazmi. Arzu, what's your take on terrorists targeting a military truck? And this military truck was carrying iftar food during Ramzan for locals in Poonch. You agree with Abdul Basit?
No, I'm not. I'm not agree with Dr. Abdul Basit. I think he just want to make a statement to be in a media or in a limelight, which he got already. And I also want to say that 2-3 years back, Indian media used to criticize Pakistan Army and Pakistan's agencies too much, and we all, including myself, we used to defend them. But now a common citizen from Pakistan on a road, they are criticizing Pakistan agencies and Pakistani army too much because of their corruptions and everything which they did wrong to the country. And now they want something from India, that some surgical strike or anything, any action against Pakistan, so they can prove themselves to the citizens of Pakistan that we are here to save Pakistan and India is our enemy. So these kind of things happening here. एक तरह से वो जो कहते हैं ना, दुकान बंद हो गई है और उस दुकान को चलाने के लिए we we need something from India, either a surgical strike or something very hard from the leadership, a statement or anything like that,
Okay.
so they can save themselves. This is what's happening right now here.
Sushant Sareen, what do you make of Abdul Basit's statement?
Gaurav, I'm not really surprised because I think Abdul Basit exudes the ugliness which he shows on his face. His internal ugliness is also reflected in his words. And it's not just Abdul Basit. There was this other joker, Ashraf Jahangir Qazi, who's a great friend of some bow tie wearing journalists in India. He's exactly the same people. Now, these are guys who defend the concept of jihad, who actually propagate it.
And
but
this
they will not
jihad
send their
actually
own-
is radical Islamist terror and not jihad.
But their own kids are not part of it.
Yes.
So neither that clown Jahangir Qazi nor this other clown Abdul Basit will send their own kids to be part of this jihad. Their kids are, in nice fancy positions, but they will want the poor people's kids to go and fight this jihad for them. So Abdul Basit, even when he was in India, he was a non-entity. I had nothing but utter contempt for the guy. And he was always trying to be somebody who wanted to try and fit in, always trying to be too clever by half.
Yes.
But I think he's a waste of time. But I think what is important is what Arzu Kazmi has just said. The Pakistan army has been pilloried like never before in Pakistan over the last couple of months, in fact. And what has started happening is that to recoup their image, they are desperate for some kind of a conflict. They don't want a long conflict because as the revelations have just come out, they simply do not have the wherewithal for a long open conflict with India. Their equipment is failing. They don't have the logistic support. You don't fight wars on an empty treasury.
Yes.
But what they want is a small skirmish of sorts so that they can then project themselves as the saviors of Pakistan. So I think Arzu Kazmi is right on the money as far as that is concerned.
Okay.
I think we will give them that opportunity, but they will not be shown up as saviors. Probably they will be shown up as losers. And that's going
Which
to
they
dent
are,
their image
which
even
they are
more
since
than what it has
1947.
already
In fact, I'm going to come back to you on the question of why people like, Abdul Basit and Ashraf Jahangir Qazi and several others were the toast of what, the Prime Minister has often described, and others, of course, have also described as the Lutyens Khan market cabal, this ecosystem. उनको मतलब रुई के फाय में रखते थे हमारे देश में, जो हमारे देश के खिलाफ ऐसी गालियां देते हैं. And that ecosystem perhaps should see the real side of Abdul Basit and people like Ashraf Jahangir Qazi. But Arzu, if soldiers are legitimate target in this radical Islamist terror, एक हाफिज सईद के माइंडसेट में हाफिज सईद हो या मसूद अजहर हो, वो तो आतंकवादी है. उनमें और अब्दुल बासित और अशरफ जहांगीर काजी जैसे लोगों में फर्क क्या है? ये तो मतलब एक ही मां के दो बेटों की तरह है.
एक अंग्रेजी बोलता है, एक उर्दू बोलता है.
अंग्रेजी भी टूटी फूटी बोलते हैं.
I don't see much difference between them because even if you see Imran Khan also have a same mindset. So you can say that they all think in a same line. But also Dr. Basit is nothing but you can say a puppet or a face of establishment. Even he made a video against Pakistani media and YouTubers that they are supporting Indian government and Indian people, and he also want to block all these YouTubers कि उनका काम को रोक दिया जाए because he is not happy if anybody in Pakistan says that India is a growing economy and India is going, you cannot chase India like this, that you say that they are our enemy, all these kind of things. But Dr. Basis keep making these kind of statements and YouTube videos, even you can check his YouTube channel. So I think that even if you say Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar, Imran Khan, or even Dr. Basit, or many people, even several people from the establishment and Pakistan army, they have the same Talibani mindset. That's why they behave or they talk like this.
And it's actually a revelation, and you're very brave, Arzu. You're saying all this. I hope you stay safe in Pakistan with these statements. But Sushant Sareen, is this Abdul Basit's frustration since he was superseded? He didn't make it to top rung, because Arzu says he's actually the face or representative of the establishment of Pakistan, but the establishment didn't think much of him, and he said so. Matlab, they would give letters for India to our High Commissioner in Pakistan and not through him, so he could not, on a bent knee reach 7, Lok Kalyan Marg. He tried to come close to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and that clearly didn't happen.
Gaurav, he was a mediocre man with mediocre intelligence. So I'm not surprised that, he wasn't really part in the loop. But I think what Arzu is saying is correct. Look, after his retirement, he first tried to get a career in television. Now, frankly, he knew very little about Pakistan itself. So his television career flopped. Then he started a YouTube channel. I don't think more than 300, 400 people watch whatever nonsense he dishes out on his YouTube channel. And some of those people are, people like me who will want to watch it simply to see what is the kind of poison he's spewing out. But otherwise, he has no following, nothing.
Okay.
Right? So obviously, he's a frustrated old man. He wrote a book, which is absolutely a third-rate book also. So that is where he comes from. But, he will keep propagating that jihadist thing to show that he's an uber nationalist of sorts. But
an uber terrorist,
he should send his own kids for jihad.
Absolutely. Let him try that, because his kids will meet the same fate as other terrorists in this country in case they come here with a weapon. लेकिन आरजू, एक और जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण चीज है, भारत में इस समय G20 समिट की तैयारी हो रही है, अलग अलग इवेंट्स हो रहे हैं, लेह में बहुत जबरदस्त आयोजन हुआ, उसकी हम तस्वीरें दिखा रहे हैं, श्रीनगर में होने वाला है. इसका पाकिस्तान की जनता क्या सोचती है? मतलब गिलगिट बाल्टिस्तान की जनता, पाक ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर की जनता, वहां से आपको क्या फीडबैक मिल रहा है? पूरे पाकिस्तान से क्या फीडबैक मिल रहा है?
आई थिंक सब लोग ही इम्प्रेस हैं. जो भी इंडिया में चल रहा है, चाहे G20 हो, एससीओ की मीटिंग्स हैं, everybody likes it. But one thing more here I like to add, Gaurav, is that I think Pakistan establishment also confused, because on one side Bajwa साहब कहते हैं that we cannot fight with India, we don't have a fuel or other things to fight more than 2 days. वो भी एक controversy चल रही थी. On the other hand, DG ISPR press conference करते हैं और कहते हैं कि we will go and we will fight with India. So they both are confused. I don't know what actually they want. They want peace with India or they want to fight with India?
No, they want to fight with India, but they want atta from India. That is the Pakistani mindset, but I don't think that is happening. Is that your appreciation, Sushant Sareen? Does Pakistan genuinely think in 2024 there will be another surgical strike on Pakistan?
No, I think the threat of the strikes is certainly there on Pakistan, and it should remain on Pakistan because nothing works like that. But I think the statement of the ISPR chief, look, what else did you expect him to say in public? The private conversation which General Bajwa had with 25 odd or 30 odd journalists, I think was far more significant because that was off the record. He was talking the truth and he was apprising people in the Pakistani media of the actual state of affairs of the Pakistan army in terms of war preparedness. But I think what the DG ISPR could not have said the same thing publicly, because saying that publicly would be an admission of defeat, would be an acknowledgement of surrender. So he could not say it publicly. So he had to give the typical Punjabi badak, as I call it, this empty boast which many of these guys do. I'll take the war into your country, all that spiel which they keep giving. But everybody knows that you cannot, Gaurav, fight a war on an empty treasury.
Yes.
And certainly if you are a person with 2 stars, as the DG ISPR is, he would know that. Otherwise, he probably doesn't even deserve a pip on his shoulder if he doesn't know this much. So I think that is the reality as far as the state of preparedness is concerned. Of course, that does not mean that we should be complacent. That does not mean Pakistan is not going to export terrorism into India and try and keep the fires of terrorism burning. Perhaps keep it on a lower flame, not let it boil over, but they will keep it going. And what happened in Punj was a part of that.
Absolutely, and we'll track this very, very closely. I've run out of time on this part of the show. Arzu Kazmi, as always, many thanks for joining me. Sushant Sareen, thank you very much. Arzu, stay safe in Pakistan. A quick break coming up next. Business Today with Abha Bakaya.
Bihar's Bahubali Rajput politician Anand Mohan Singh goes back to prison one last time. Anand Mohan, who was convicted of the murder of IS officer G. Krishnaiah in 2007, will soon walk out a free man, thanks to the Nitish Kumar government, which has remitted his life sentence. The slain IS officer's family is crying injustice.
After we got to know about this decision that has been taken by Bihar government, it is very unfair that the government has not thought about the family who has suffered so much.
The release of the gangster turned politician has triggered massive outrage. The BJP has targeted its former ally Nitish Kumar over the decision to free Anand Mohan Singh.
मेरे ख्याल से आनंद मोहन जी की रिहाई, वो बेचारे तो बलि के बकरा हैं, वो तो इतनी सजाब हो गए हैं, उनकी रिहाई पर किसी को कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, लेकिन आनंद मोहन जी के आड़ में जो काम किया है ये सरकार समाज कभी नहीं माफ करेगी.
Anand Mohan Singh was on parole to attend his son and RJD MLA Chetan Anand's engagement when the decision was announced. He dodged queries on his impending release.
अब जितना सवाल जवाब करना था सबका दे चुके हैं, कुछ नया नहीं है. अब निकलेंगे जो फैसला आया सर उसका आईएएस एसोसिएशन में आज प्रणाम करते हैं, सबको प्रणाम करते हैं, सबको प्रणाम करते हैं.
The Mahagathbandhan has defended Anand Mohan Singh's release.
माननीय सुशील मोदी जी, आपने कहा है मात्र 73 दिन पहले ये दस्तावेज हैं और आप यह कह रहे हैं कि यद्यपि कृष्णैया हत्याकांड में भीड़ को उकसाने या हत्या के अपराध में आनंद मोहन सीधे तौर पर दोषी नहीं है, फिर भी उन्हें उम्र कैद की सजा हुई है. यह माननीय सुशील मोदी जी का ट्वीट है और बयान है. कानून अपना काम कर रहा, आम और खास के बीच अंतर मिटाएगा, इसके राजनीतिकरण का कोई औचित्य नहीं.
Krishnaiah was the district magistrate of Gopalganj when he was lynched by a mob during Lalu Prasad Yadav's rule. The Nitish Kumar government has tweaked prison rules to facilitate the release of Anand Mohan from jail. Earlier rules did not allow remission for those convicted of murdering a public servant on duty. Bureau Report, India Today.